Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And a funny thing happened. Time Magazine has an article talking about Inside Out 2, and Pete Docter, who's in charge of Pixar now, saying that if this movie doesn't do good, they're going to have to rethink their business model.
Really?
Radically.
You don't say.
You don't say.
Like
so
roll them together and all that, you know?
I don't know. I think Disney is basically threatening them. I think Disney is probably telling them, like, we cannot afford to have another box office disaster like the last couple of movies you guys have done. And yeah, I'm sure there were some words exchanged, but we're going to talk about Inside Out. It's box office predictions, which people are saying it's actually going to do pretty good this weekend. I don't know if it's going to do $100 million domestic good, but I think it'll probably do okay. Now, the reviews are interesting. The reviews said it's a very safe movie.
Really?
Yeah, that's not what I expected. I expected it to be like, well, this is Riley's coming of age.
No, they can't do that. I think they're starting to learn their lesson is that you keep taking these risks to push certain things, and it doesn't fly with audiences, especially families.
And so I think
right or wrong, that's just the way it is.
Right. And I think that's why they are saying, hey, this one has got to perform. And I have to wonder if maybe in the planning stages, somebody came to them and said, hey, look, you guys aren't exactly burning up the box office right now. And we just need another hit. We need another hit. So make it so.
Do what all the other movies did. You know, use the Pixar playbook and make it do really well.
Right. So we'll see. We'll see if they learn their lesson. Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo! Yeah,
so this is interesting. They've all been saying that this one has a shot at being the first. I don't know about that, but who knows? Has a shot at being the first $100 million box office opening in 11 months.
Are they counting just domestic or domestic and overseas?
They think that it's going to do 125 combined.
I heard 135, so we're somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, they think domestic it's going to do over 80. They're saying currently, now this is as of yesterday.
Okay.
Currently, tracking shows the return of Joy and Crew will fall short with projections of 85 to 90 million. Disney and theaters alike will gladly take that. That's true because like everything's been bombing. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think it's gonna do 100 domestic. I don't see how. But it might do okay. It might do over 80. Now, what's interesting though is they said that the pre-sales have surpassed its predecessor, which that's not shocking because nobody knew what Inside Out was.
Right.
But they're also saying it's doing better or as good as Toy Story 4. I guess that's good. I don't know. Toy Story 4 sucked. So, but people went to go see it because the first three were good. But the reviews I thought were interesting. They basically, I was going through them before we started recording the video, and they said that it's a very safe movie. They said that it feels like a convoluted retread of the first one, but they said that there are no like major gut punch moments in this one. They said it just feels like a very safe, warm, welcoming movie that's a continuation of the first one. But I think that's all it needs to be, right?
Well, this is people. Okay, it's like when you go to a restaurant, you go to Burger King, and you're expecting to get a burger that's a Burger King burger. You go to watch Pixar films because you're expecting to get a Pixar film. You know, there's certain things that are what people expect and what people want from those films, and as long as you deliver that, people are going to be happy.
Right.
It doesn't have to be super deep and but Pixar is like certain things that make you, there's certain, it's going to make you cry, it's going to make you feel, warm and fuzzy. It's going to be some kind of lesson. And everybody, that's what the people want.
This is coming from the Washington Post. She said, disappointingly, the film's PG rating keeps the two sensations we'd be most curious to see get a dusting of Disney magic, PMS and libido, from crashing her hormonal rager. I think that's what everybody wanted. I think they're like, we want to see her like get the hots for
not everybody.
No,
that's what some people.
Certain people.
Yes,
but most of the reviews are pretty good. But a lot of people say it just feels very safe. They say it's predictable.
Well, yeah, nothing matches Bing Bong Sacrifice.
No, so we're not gonna have another Bing Bong. Bing Bong comes back with a vengeance. That'd be funny. But it said those looking to re-experience the tear-jerking emotional heft of Inside Out won't find it here. Although the climactic scenes are sweet, it's less joy than it is moderate satisfaction. But that's okay. I think Pixar needs to play it safe. I think they need to go back to being I mean, I hate to be, but they need to go back to being dependable and reliable and family friendly. And that's the one thing that, Disney's gotten a reputation for not being very family friendly over the last couple of years. So parents have to be like, oh yeah, okay. Inside Out 2 wasn't that bad. We'll take our kids to go see it. But, Time said we have to succeed. We have to succeed or we're going to have to radically rethink our whole business model.
Mm-hmm.
So
because you have to succeed or it's another loss and you keep losing. You mean like that? Radically rethink. We got to make money. That's the radical rethinking.
Yeah, I think we have to. Yeah, we have to perform with this movie, or I'm out of a job. Is probably what's going to happen. They just laid a bunch of people off, and I'm sorry, that campus in San Francisco. Yeah, I don't think they need their own campus. I don't think Disney thinks they need their own campus. They're not bringing it like they were. Said in recent years, Pixar has found itself in a commercial and critical rut. Movies like Turning Red and Luca that were largely based on creators' own childhoods didn't seem to resonate with audiences the way that more universal tales like Toy Story and Monsters, Inc. did, the ones John Lasseter came up with.
I was thinking it. But also, the ones that we did that we thought, how can we appeal to universal audiences, did better than the ones where we just had people do their own self-insert story.
Oh my God.
Docter points out it can be difficult to come up with original ideas that resonate with a wide audience 2 decades into the studio's existence. They had no trouble with that under Lasseter.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah.
Maybe the point is you're talking about mass appeal as opposed to, their own experience. So it's limiting on who's going to relate to that. That's the difference.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying I watched Turning Red. I thought it was okay. It didn't feel like a Pixar movie, but I thought it was okay. But again, it's going to have limited appeal, right?
That's it. You're limiting your audience because you're making, where the other ones were made to be mass appeal. You're being very niche in these other ones. It's surprising it didn't do that well.
They said that's a Pixar. Yes, shocker. It's not a shocker. This is like common sense.
I'm being smart ass.
Why are the Despicable Me movies doing so well? Why are the Kung Fu Panda movies doing so well? Because they're relatable, and I hate to be, they're fairly predictable. It's like, when you go, they're not going to, drop the other shoe and be like, oh, this character is completely different, or we're going to destroy this character or kill this character off. And Disney's done that repeatedly. Wreck-It Ralph 2 was an abomination. I mean, what they did to Ralph's personality and Vanellope's personality.
Oh, it was awful.
That was horrible.
It was awful. And they're mentioning this other point too. Turning Red, Luca, and Soul all were ending up on Disney Plus because Disney was sacrificing Pixar for, as fodder for subscribers, or to try to keep people like, we're going to give this for free to keep you here and bring you here. And that didn't help. Even though I understand, I have not seen Soul, but people said it's actually really good.
It's so weird because Soul is the one I really wanted to see because I love jazz music, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, I definitely want to see Soul. Then I forgot about it.
That's it. You get busy.
I forgot it existed. And I keep forgetting about it. It's like, I'll have to remember to watch that. And then another month goes by. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that movie existed. Yeah, that came out, didn't it? Because it wasn't in the theater, right? So, and I don't watch a lot of Disney Plus because there's not much good on Disney Plus, but I've wanted to watch it. And that actually seemed like a spiritual successor to Inside Out to me. But anyway, yeah, he said that there's a lot riding on. They said the future of Pixar, this year's box office, and theaters in general may hinge on the success of movies like Inside Out 2. Pete Docter says, if this doesn't do well at the theater, I think it just means we're going to have to think even more radically about how we run our business. That's pretty damning. I mean, this is in Time magazine. Mm-hmm. This is the one that Disney's got in their back pocket. But he's basically saying, if this movie flops, Pixar is going to have to rethink their whole business model. That's not good. Docter spoke about why Pixar is focusing on more sequels because they're safe.
I'm sorry, I can't get past the fact that it's like a cone head.
Well, he's got a big brain. He's thinking big things.
Okay.
I have a cone head. His head's bigger than my head.
It is true.
His ears are bigger than my ears, but that's okay.
I just can't unsee it. Anyway, sorry, I was distracted. Continue.
Well, he said they need to find big ideas because they said they had the
But you had some with big ideas. It actually wasn't just him. It was like a team that put together what was it, on a napkin or something? All these ideas that kicked ass. And then you got rid of those people and now you're out of ideas.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard.
Yeah. So as the story goes, there was one major meeting where all these guys from Pixar got together and they came up with most of the ideas. They had a roadmap for the next.
If it's true.
If it's true. That's the legend. that they came up with like all these ideas.
I'm sure
for
the
these
truth
movies.
isn't exactly that, but yes.
No. But yeah, they're having an interview with them, and they're basically like, yeah, they talked about releasing Pixar movies straight to Disney Plus. It trained audiences to expect those movies on streaming. The interviewer says, how do you get audiences to go to the theater for Pixar movies again? Don't suck.
Mm-hmm.
Part of our strategy is to try to balance our output with more sequels.
Yes, because that's going to work. Yeah, it wasn't like for every 2 sequels or spinoffs, they have 1 new movie.
Well, he says it. He said, everybody says, why don't they do more original stuff? And then when we do, people don't see it because they're not familiar with it.
No, because all your stuff was original at one point. Why don't people go when you do original stuff? Because your original stuff is, as you point out already, wasn't made for mass appeal. It was made for nuanced audiences that have similar experiences. Why didn't it work for mass appeal? Because you didn't set it up to be so. Why didn't like Elemental and Lightyear do well? Well, because you did Buzz Lightyear without Buzz Lightyear. And Elemental, I mean, it was pretty, but it looked boring. And it also looked like you were going to try to shoehorn in, narratives and agenda. I mean, the good thing about Pixar has always had, lessons inside it. But it was, wrapped up in fried ice cream that was fantastic. And you're just like, okay, and I learned something and I had something delicious. Now you got to these other movies, it's like, they're just not even ice cream. It's like a Vaseline with some coconut on top and a pill. And you're like, here we go. And people they know what you're doing.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot more overt. That being said, I haven't had fried ice cream in a long time. And I really need to have it.
I've never had it, but I really want to try it.
Yeah. No, we used to make it because my stepdad's family, they're from Mexico and they had a Mexican restaurant. And they used to make fried ice cream. It was good. It doesn't melt. You have to be quick.
But you're a racist, so.
I'm a racist. There we go. All right. Yeah. It's basically people are familiar with it. They said, hey, Lightyear underperformed at the box office.
Yeah.
This is a managed interview. This is addressing.
But the question is good though.
All of the points.
If the focus is more sequels and spinoffs, what's the lesson from that spinoff not working? Maybe make sure it feels like the character and you hire the actor and you don't try to change it just because you're trying to pander.
Yeah. So we took a long moment of self-scrutiny after that didn't deliver. I think we overestimated the audience's nerd level.
So you're blaming on the audience.
Yeah. Again, he's done this before.
I know.
Like the audiences didn't get it. We overestimated their nerd level, being like, oh, that kid in the first Toy Story bought a toy. It was based on a movie, and this is the movie.
But it doesn't even make sense. Like when we were kids, we bought toys from movies. The toys were like the characters in the movie. And then you play in your head like they were the characters in the movie. Andy wasn't going to take the character from, Buzz Lightyear and Star Command and turn it into the goofy character that was Buzz Lightyear from the Toy Story movies that everybody knew and loved. It was stupid. And let's be honest here. It's because you were going to try to get rid of Tim Allen and put Chris Evans in because you wanted to, pander a certain demographic. Let's be honest. That's what it was about. And it bit you in the ass.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Tim Allen's getting another Home Improvement series, I guess, with Disney Plus or whatever. So he's not canceled. But yeah, Pixar, I think they tried to cancel him. No, look, I'll tell you what the problem, Pete Docter, is. There is no way in hell that a kid in the 1990s would have went to the theater to see Lightyear and wanted a toy after that snooze fest. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command made sense because that was like over the top action, goofy fun. Ass. It was hell. Galaxy Quest had more going for it than Lightyear. Speaking of Tim Allen, you know what I'm saying? The kid would have wanted toys from a fun movie for kids. And this was not it. This was Interstellar. It was not a fun movie for kids. And it wouldn't have been hard to just adapt Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. But I think there were some people at Pixar that want to deconstruct Buzz Lightyear because Buzz Lightyear meant the most to John Lasseter. Like that was his whole thing. And he did the whole backstory for Buzz Lightyear. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think they're like, yeah, Lasseter's gone. Let's, piss all over Buzz.
I'm sorry, this next thing. What are you looking for when it comes to ideas for original movies that will get people to theaters? It's sort of cynical to say people want to see stuff they know. But I think even with original stuff, that's what we're trying to do too. We're trying to find something that people will feel like, oh yeah, I've been through that. I understand that. I recognize this as a life truth. And that's harder to do. No, it's really not that hard to do. You've done it many, many times. The problem is you have Turning Red, which I think is cute, but I'm a girl and I'm also a ginger who likes to brush things. But I'm just saying, for most people, they're not going to relate to, some of the things in that movie. They're not gonna. You have Luca, and you have some of the other things you've been doing. They're not things everybody relates to. When they have the whole thing with Elemental, it's clearly like an allegory for racism. They're not everything everybody's going to relate to, and that's fine sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying that's not fine. It's fine sometimes, but like you have Monsters Inc. and everybody remembers like at one point, oh, I'm afraid of the monster under my bed. Everybody understands fear and laughing. You have Toy Story, and everybody has played with toys before. And you probably all thought, what if your toys are alive? These are things people understand, relate to because they have a mass appeal. They're not so limiting. It's not really that hard. Coco, everybody's lost family.
Yeah.
Everybody misses family. Everybody would love to go see their family, and you don't want to be forgotten. I mean, these are all things people relate to and understand because they're a wide general idea.
I think, okay, so let's talk about The Water Boy. I want to talk about The Water Boy because Henry Winkler's playbook, right?
He uses this analogy a lot.
I use this as a basic
off camera. He uses this a lot.
I do use this a lot because it's
true.
The perfect analogy. Basically, for those of you who haven't seen The Water Boy is an Adam Sandler classic. And Henry Winkler's character, the coach, came up with all these great plays, and his rival stole his playbook. And they were playing the game, and they were winning because he was using his plays. That's what happened. Basically, John Lasseter wrote the playbook. And when you ran out of original plays and you had to do it yourself without John Lasseter, you fell flat on your ass. That's what happened. Now, I'm not saying Lasseter by himself. Like, you need the whole Pixar team because, like, he did go over to Skydance. Luck wasn't that great.
Right. I think it's more than just him. Yes.
It's more than just him.
But I think it's the ideals, the time, and what risks you're willing to take at the time, and the world view at the time. I think that has a lot to do with it. And but those are enduring classics. So maybe you need to go back to taking those risks. Maybe you need to go back to that worldview.
Yeah, they're missing something. Pixar doesn't have the it factor anymore. And I'm telling you, Bob Iger's probably just looking at Pixar and he's looking at the competition, which is DreamWorks, and DreamWorks just keeps, and Illumination, which is, Universal's, both of those companies, and they just keep cranking out sequels and people keep going to them. I mean, Rise of Gru did incredibly well.
Because they're giving people what they want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go see the Rise of Gru, and it's Steve Carell and it's Gru, and it's not, I'm going to go see the Rise of Gru, but it's a different actor. It's about the Gru that he was on TV that someone was pretending to be him.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I think, Iger's looking at. So yeah, I think we have some, difference of ideals here, but Pixar is not Pixar anymore. That's
the problem. And they don't seem to understand it. They can't understand what they've lost. And what they've lost just boils down to creativity and, understanding that there is a lot of connectivity between people of all different kinds. You don't have to be someone's worldview and being very, even you can use that and just find what elements of this that everybody understand and then make that.
Was a good.
Yes, exactly. Where it's very, ingrained in one culture, but it's something everybody understands. And I'm not saying they don't do that with Turning Red and Luca. To a point, they kind of do, because friendship is universal. And so is, some of the other, a lot of them are friendship stories and they have a lot to do with that. But the problem is you're focused more on trying to appeal to certain demographics. And by doing so, you're losing everything. And you don't have to do that. And these could have been still good if you just made some changes about what your focuses were. And that it's not hard to fix. You guys did it for years. You just have to stop and think, what would we have this idea. How can we present this idea in a way that more people are going to come to it than just this limited group?
No, you have to own the chuds. You have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to own the chuds. That's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, guys. I think it might. I'm going to be honest. I think this one might actually do okay if it does play it safe.
If it plays it safe, it's going to do fine. And the thing is, that kind of sounds contradictory to what I was saying about taking risks. But the thing is, what I'm saying is, I think it's stupid they keep doing sequels to sequels to sequels, to be honest with you. That's not a risk. They're already playing it safe in that regard. But, until you build back up and you get some really great ideas that are going to have mass appeal, you're going to have to play it safe to win people back, because anymore, you're going to have to build that reputation, because you knew as soon as you saw it was a Pixar movie, it was going to be amazing. You knew you were going to get up or something fantastic that was going to, pull on your heart and make you, think about it for years later. And it was going to be good, and it was going to be heartfelt. And now you don't think that you're going to get that. So you're going to have to go back and be boring, but offer what people expect to get that audience goodwill back.
And now the downside to this one performing really well is that they'll probably take Journey to Imagination and turn it into the Inside Out Pavilion.
Yeah, well, that's the rumor.
That's
and
the rumor.
I would recommend Disney do not do that. That would be colossally dumb.
But anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
All right. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.